He never wrote a self-help book. No lists of morning rituals. No talk of dopamine or balance. And yet, he saw deeper than any guru. He knew focus was never about being calm or productive. It was about control. A weapon in the hands of the few who dared to use it. Look around. Most men are leaking power. 10 goals at once. 10 screens glowing. Always reachable. Always tired. Not weak, just scattered. The truth is simple and brutal. What is dispersed becomes nothing. What is concentrated becomes unstoppable. So the question isn't, how do you focus? The question is, how do you weaponize it? Cut, burn, rule. That's where we begin. Part 1. Subtraction. He sat at the table with 10 tabs open. The screen glowed. Numbers, emails, half-written lines of text. Nothing moved. The coffee went cold. He touched the mouse, scrolled a little, checked his phone. Another hour gone. That's what distraction looks like. Not a fire, not an explosion, just a slow leak that drains everything. Focus doesn't begin with adding, not with new apps, not with timers, not with another list. It begins with subtraction, cutting out, stripping down, taking the knife to what doesn't serve. A fighter once said he owed his whole career to a single choice. He stopped chasing 5 hobbies. He stopped drinking with friends every weekend. He stopped trying to be everything to everyone. He kept only the gym, the bag, the ring. The discipline turned into a body people couldn't ignore. One focus, everything else cut. Most men do the opposite. They say yes to every invitation. They chase every shiny chance. They carry 10 goals like stones in a sack. And they wonder why they walk so slowly. It's not weakness that clutters their mind. It's indulgence. They've made themselves available to all, committed to none. Focus is violent subtraction. Remove 9 out of 10. Cut the projects that flatter your ego but drain your strength. Cut the people who take your hours and pay you back in guilt. Cut the habit of trying to be good at everything. Choose one battlefield. Stay there. Bleed there. Until the ground itself bears your name. The world doesn't respect scattered energy. It respects a man who empties himself of noise and leaves only the edge of a single blade. Part 2. Burn the ships. A man once set fire to his ships. He had crossed the ocean with his soldiers. When they reached the new shore, he told them there would be no return. The only way back was through victory. They fought like men with no escape. And they won. That's how focus works. You don't keep a plan B. You don't scatter your bets. You burn the exits. You tell yourself there's one road forward, and it must be walked until your feet bleed. A factory worker saved for years. He wanted to open a small repair shop. When the doors finally opened, his friends asked what he'd do if it failed. He said he had no answer. He had already quit the factory. There was no fallback. The shop had to survive. And it did, because it had to. Modern thinkers call this deep work. They talk about flow states, concentration, attention hygiene. But what it really is, territorial control of the mind. You occupy one space so fully that nothing else can grow there. No weeds, no intruders, just your flag in the soil. Dabblers scatter themselves. They pick at one task, then another. Half-finished projects, half-built bodies, half-lived lives. They never declare war. They never burn the ships. You must. Choose your war. Decide on one field where you'll stand unreasonable, obsessive, merciless. Close every back door. Cut off retreat. Then march until your enemies kneel or quit. That is the law of total commitment, and the mind respects no other. Part 3. Visibility kills. He answered every call, every text, every email, always quick, always polite, and still no one respected him. He was easy, always there, always ready. Availability kills power. It drains focus faster than failure. Because when the world can reach you at any moment, you stop building. You stop being dangerous. You spend your hours in fragments, scattered across other people's demands. In an office, there's always one man like this, the one who replies before the boss finishes typing, the one who says yes to every request. He thinks it earns trust, but it doesn't. It earns disregard. He's reliable, but not respected. Present, but invisible. A focused man disappears. He blocks the noise. He cuts 90% of notifications. He carves out hours where the world can't find him. 3 hours gone. Phone off, door shut. Silence. When he returns sharper. People wonder what he's been doing. They feel his absence, and that absence gives weight to his presence. Power grows in silence. Mystery builds gravity. The man who is hard to reach becomes the man they want most. The one who doesn't explain himself. The one who shows up only when it matters. The one who lets others crave his attention. A distracted man cannot build a legacy. A scattered mind cannot rule. But a man who controls his availability, who withdraws when the world screams for him, becomes unreachable, and unreachable men shape history. Part 4. Manufacture pressure. He sat at the desk. The project was half done, deadline weeks away. He told himself he had time, so he waited. Another day passed, another excuse. Men like that never finish. Comfort dulls them. Luxury kills urgency. Focus isn't born in calm, it grows under heat. So you create the heat. You build the fire yourself. Announce the deadline before you're ready. Tell people what you'll deliver. Now your reputation is on the line. Now failure means shame. A young founder once did this. He promised his team a launch in 30 days. They had no product, no code ready. But he spoke it aloud. And once spoken, there was no turning back. The team worked through nights, bloodshot eyes, empty pizza boxes. On day 30, they launched. Not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Men bet money. Men bet status. Men bet ego. And when something is at stake, focus sharpens. Fear cuts away distraction. Pressure forges attention the way fire purifies steel. Don't wait for the right mood. Don't wait for inspiration. Manufacture necessity. Place yourself where loss is real, where the clock is ticking, where you can't run. That's where your mind wakes up. A man without pressure drifts. A man under pressure builds. So raise the stakes, set the trap, and then lock yourself inside it, because the only way out is forward. Part 5. Focus as violence. He tried moderation. Delete 1 app, keep 2. Check less, he told himself. But moderation failed. Every buzz pulled him back. Every red dot lit his brain like fire. Hours gone, nothing built. You don't tame distraction, you kill it, cold, decisive, without apology. A man once threw his television onto the curb. Neighbors stared. He didn't explain. He didn't soften it. He knew if the screen stayed in his house, it would own him. So he killed it. That's what focus demands. Violence against the small urges. The whisper to check the phone. The itch to scroll. The harmless 5 minutes that turns into 50. You cut it off. Block the site. Uninstall the app. Walk away from the person who pulls you into gossip. Kill every entry point. Machiavellian cruelty works the same way. When rulers punished, they punished once, fast, without leaving survivors to plot revenge. Apply that law to distraction. One move, final, no return. Most men toy with temptation. They think they can outthink it. They can't. Distraction is patient. It waits. And the man who tries to reason with it always loses. So take the blade, cut clean, kill what leaks your attention, Do it once, do it hard, then never look back. Focus is violence against your weaker self, against the world that wants you docile, against the small addictions that eat your crown. Choose cruelty now, or be ruled forever. Part 6. Tyrant of the Day. He woke up like a tourist, checked his phone, scrolled the news, drifted through emails. Hours slipped away. No plan, no command. That's how most men live. Tourists in their own life. Visitors, not rulers. They move through the day reacting, hoping something will happen. It never does. A tyrant does it differently. He treats each hour like land to be conquered. Every minute must bend. Every task must serve. Nothing is free. Nothing is casual. There was a factory owner once. Old man, grim face. He walked the floor at dawn, clipboard in hand. Every worker, every machine, every part of the line was accounted for. No wasted motion, no idle hands. The factory made money because the man ruled time like territory. He allowed nothing loose. You must rule your day the same way. Wake up and seize it. Don't ask what you feel like doing. Ask what serves the mission. Cut everything else. Fill the hours like a general fills the ranks. No drift, no delay. People will call it joyless. They will call it obsession. Let them. Joy comes from sovereignty. Obsession builds empires. Your calendar is your throne. Your hours are your soldiers. Command them. Don't beg for them. Don't plead with the clock. Make it kneel. A man who rules his day rules his life. And the man who rules his life is feared, envied, never ignored. Part 7. Leverage points. He worked 12 hours a day, answered every email, went to every meeting, still broke, still ignored. Because effort spread thin is nothing. Power comes from leverage, not from doing everything, from striking the one point that bends the rest. A lawyer once learned this. At first, he took every case, property, divorce, small debts. He drowned in papers, never known, never feared. Then he cut it all. Chose one field, criminal defense. Studied it until his voice could silence a courtroom. In 5 years, he owned the niche. Other lawyers circled around him. Judges knew his name. One field, one strike, domination. That's how it works. The sniper beats the machine gun. One bullet, clean, does what 100 random shots can't. Ask yourself, which skill pays the highest return? Which habit pulls the rest into line? Which relationship opens the most doors? That's where the blade goes. That's where the hours fall. Most men scatter. They polish details that don't matter. They chase small wins that vanish by morning. They never stop to see where the real weight lies, so they stay busy and stay powerless. Focus means refusing 90%. It means fixing your eye on the lever that moves the whole machine and pulling it until the ground shakes. Do that, and people stop asking what you do. They start asking how you became untouchable. Part 8. Train like a spy. He kept losing hours, sat down to work, looked up, half the day gone. He couldn't even say where it went. A blur of clicks, a drift of thoughts, nothing to show. That's what happens when you don't watch yourself. The mind runs wild, and you don't even notice the theft. A spy notices. He studies movements, counts patterns, records details others miss. Cold eyes, no emotion, just facts. You must treat yourself the same way. Spy on your own mind. Track when the drift begins. Morning, afternoon, after meals. With which people, in which places. Write it down. Treat it like surveillance. There was an office worker once. He thought he was lazy. Every day his focus collapsed by 2 in the afternoon. So he blamed himself. Then he started recording. Every task, every break, every thought. He saw the truth. His worst hours came after lunch, fogged, tired, slow. So he shifted. Did the heavy work early, meetings late. Within weeks, his output doubled. Same man, different watch. Observation gives control. If you can't see your mind, you can't steer it. You will remain its prisoner. So you watch, patient, precise, cold, like a spy preparing a strike. You map the enemy before you move, and when you finally act, the blow is surgical. That is how rulers win, and how a man takes back his time. Part 9. Ritual of War. He didn't wander into work. He entered it, like a soldier stepping onto a battlefield. Same chair, same light, same rhythm. Every day. No debate, no delay. That's what ritual does. It tells the mind, now the war begins. Not later. Not when you feel ready. Now. A writer once built his whole life on this. He kept a chipped mug, always filled it the same way. Coffee, black, no sugar. He sat at the same desk. He opened the same notebook. Before he wrote a line, he copied one sentence from a book he loved. That was the trigger. The page warmed. The words came. Every time. Not magic. Just ritual. Warriors do the same. They sharpen the blade, polish the armor, not for beauty, but for the mind. The act itself tells the body, prepare. Stand ready. Strike soon. You need this. A ritual that kills drift, that signals to your brain. Playtime is dead. Work has begun. It might be music. It might be a locked door. It might be one line written cold and clear. It doesn't matter what. It matters that it's always. Most men wait for mood. They hope for energy, inspiration, a spark. They never see it. So they waste the day. A ritual saves them. It cuts through weakness. It hardens focus. It begins the fight before the fight begins. Do this, and your mind steps forward like a soldier, ready, sharp, without mercy. Part 10. Mask of Focus. He didn't feel focused, not at first, but he dressed the part. Clean shirt, sharp shoes, notebook under his arm. He walked into the room like his time cost gold, and slowly, people treated him that way. Then, slowly, he believed it too. That's how appearances work, not for vanity, for psychology. Others see what you pretend to be, and then you start to see it yourself. A salesman once tried this. He was new. No clients, no confidence. But every morning he put on the same suit. He carried the same leather folder. He spoke less, listened more. At first it was an act. He was shaking inside, but the mask held. The mask bought him time, and in that time, skill grew. Soon the mask wasn't a mask anymore. That's the secret. Act as if until it fuses with you. Pretend focus until it becomes real. Move with precision, even if your head is chaos. Speak as if your words matter, even if your voice trembles. Silence works too. Say less, and people will lean in. They will imagine you know more than you do. And soon, you will. Most men collapse into how they feel. Distracted, tired, lost. They look distracted, tired, lost. So the world believes it, and they believe it too. But the man who wears the mask of focus, cold, restrained, unyielding, becomes the mask. And once it sticks, the world bends. Part 11. Solitude Weaponized. He lost his job. 2 kids at home, bills stacking on the counter. Friends told him to relax, take time, figure things out. Instead, he locked the door. 3 months, no bar, no games, no chatter, just a laptop, a chair, silence. When he came back out, he knew code. Within a year, he had work again. Better work, twice the pay. That's what solitude does. It sharpens, it cuts away the noise, it leaves only the man and the task. Most fear it. They need company, validation, a hand on the shoulder telling them they're doing fine. But those voices drown the truth. They keep you soft. Exile makes men dangerous. One thinker was cast out of his circle, beaten, humiliated, ignored. In that silence, he wrote the words that outlived his enemies. Because the mind alone is forced to see clearly. Don't fear the empty room. Engineer it. Block days off. No phone, no visitors, no noise. At first, your head will scream. It will itch for distraction. That's withdrawal. That's the poison leaving. Stay long enough, and the silence bends. Ideas rise. Clarity cuts through. The fog lifts. You see the world as strategy, not chaos. Isolation is not weakness, it's weapon. The man who can stand alone emerges with steel in his eyes, and when he returns, the world feels it. Part 12. Hierarchy of Values. He worked 2 jobs, took night classes, tried to please everyone. By the end of each week, she was broken. No progress, no direction, just exhaustion. One night she drew a line. At the top she wrote, "Feed my son, learn my craft." Below that, pay rent, stay healthy. At the bottom, everything else. Parties, favors, noise. She cut those out. Life got smaller, but it also got sharp. Within a year, she had a license, steady income, a boy who never went hungry. That's the law of value. Not all tasks weigh the same. Not all thoughts deserve your attention. Some are mission, some are maintenance, some are optional, and some are poison. Most men blur the lines. They treat everything as equal. So they waste power on trivia and wonder why nothing changes. A ruler doesn't do that. He knows the order. He guards the top. He assigns the middle. He burns the bottom. And in that order, his state holds. You must do the same. Pick the tasks that decide your future. Mark them as sacred. Do them no matter what. Then handle the rest with minimal energy. The weak, the distracting, erase. Every time you obey the hierarchy, your focus strengthens. Every time you blur it, you lose ground. Power belongs to the man who knows what deserves his life and what must die. Part 13. Collapse time. The fire was spreading, sirens in the distance. A crew of 5 men had 20 minutes. No speeches, no meetings. They moved fast, axes through doors, hoses aimed, every second burned into muscle. In 20 minutes, they did the work of days. The house didn't survive, but the family inside walked out alive. That's what collapse feels like. 3 hours against 3 days. Sharp, not long. Predator speed, not peasant grind. Most men drag their feet. They spread a task over hours, check phones, pause, restart. They think time is endless. It isn't. It's already gone. You must cut like the fire crew. 1 strike, no hesitation. Work in sprints, not marathons. Attack with full weight, then step back. A student once asked how to study more. He tried 8-hour days, coffee, music, endless notes. Still failed. Then he cut it. 1 hour, phone away, door shut. Pure attack, then rest. Repeat. Within months, his grades turned. Not because he worked more, because he worked sharp. Ask yourself each morning, if I had 1 hour, only 1, to make massive progress, what would I do? Then do it every day. That's how you bend time. Minutes mean nothing. Decisiveness means everything. Part 14. Power nodes. He played every night in small bars, covered songs no one remembered. Years gone, no change. Then one day he wrote 1 track. Simple. Raw. It hit. The radios played it. Crowds doubled. His life bent on a single note. That's how power nodes work. Not everything you do matters. 1 move can outweigh 100, but only if you strike where the leverage lies. A ruler never tried to control the crowd. He controlled the generals, the nobles, the bankers, the few who bent the many. That's leverage. You must think the same. Ask yourself, which skill, if mastered, multiplies the rest? Which relationship opens the most doors? Which platform makes your voice 10 times louder? That is your node. That is your battlefield. Most men chase noise. They answer every message. They grind on low-return tasks. They fight in the mud where nothing grows. And they wonder why the crown never comes. But the man who finds the node and locks his focus there changes everything. One habit, one craft, one strike, and the world tilts. Don't scatter, don't dilute. Hunt the few points that matter. Pull the lever until the machine moves. Kingdoms fall or rise by nodes. So do men. Part 15. Enemy Within. He trained for months. Strong body, fast hands, but in the ring he froze. Not because of his opponent, because of a voice inside. You're not ready. You'll lose. Why try? He swung weak. He lost. Not to the other man, but to himself. That's the truth. The worst enemy sits inside your skull. It whispers doubt. It feeds guilt. It drips shame into every choice. And if you let it, it drains all power. A runner once admitted this. Every time he reached the halfway mark, his legs gave out. Not from pain, from thought. The mind said stop, so the body obeyed. Until one day he named it, out loud. That's fear. That's weakness. That's not me. He kept moving, step after step. The voice faded. The body finished. It was never his muscles that failed. It was the rebel inside. You must crush it. No mercy, no dialogue. When the inner saboteur speaks, cut it off. Replace it with steel. Train yourself to reward focus. Punish drift. Govern your head like a tyrant governs a palace. No rebellion survives. Most men never fight this war. They fight bosses, lovers, rivals, but never the shadow within. So they stay chained. The man who conquers himself becomes untouchable. Every other enemy is small once the voice inside goes silent. Part 16. Fortress Environment. He rented a small room above a store. No TV, no couch, just a desk, a chair, and white walls. Friends laughed, called it prison. But in that bare space he painted every day, canvas after canvas. When the year ended, he walked out with work that sold. The silence had done its job. That's what a fortress looks like. Not stone, not guards, but an environment that protects your focus. Chaos kills attention. Not because you're weak, because systems matter. Even the strongest soldier falls if the walls collapse. So you build walls, routines, lockdown hours, a place that tells your mind, this is where you fight. A student once cleared his desk. Only books for one subject, one lamp. Nothing else. Every time he sat down, the brain clicked into gear. Grades rose, not from willpower, from design. You don't need to argue with yourself if the environment leaves no choice. The room forces you. The ritual holds you. The calendar traps you. These are not soft habits. They are barricades. Psychological walls that keep weakness out. Most men surround themselves with clutter, then wonder why they drift. But the man who fortifies his space, who strips it bare, finds his mind sharpens. No leaks, no excuses. Only the mission. Build the fortress, then guard it, because once the walls stand firm, focus doesn't ask permission. It rules. Part 17. Master Boredom. He lost his job, spent weeks hunting noise, scrolling, calling, pacing, every hour filled with distraction. But one afternoon the power went out. No phone, no TV, nothing. He sat with a notebook. At first the silence hurt. Minutes felt like stones. But slowly, words came. He wrote a plan. 2 weeks later, he started a small business. The silence gave it to him. That's what boredom hides. Not emptiness. Access. A door to ideas the noise drowns out. Most men run from it. The quiet feels like death. So they fill it with chatter, screens, movement, and their mind stays weak. A thinker once said his best hours were spent alone, doing nothing but staring at paper. No rush, no stimulation, just thought. And from that stillness came pages that changed nations. You must relearn this. Sit in a room, no phone, no music, no window open, 20 minutes. Only you and the silence. At first, your mind will scream. It will claw for stimulation. That's withdrawal. That's the poison leaving. Stay. Breathe. Let the quiet sharpen you. Soon the itch fades, and underneath you find steel. Focus is not only attack, it is endurance. The man who can sit still can command storms, because he does not flinch when the noise comes back. Part 18. Feedback Loop. He boxed every morning, sweat on the mat, gloves heavy, but he never improved. Same mistakes, same slow hands. Until one day a friend filmed him. He watched the tape, saw every flaw, dropped guard, lazy footwork, punches wide. The truth was brutal, but it gave him a map. He fixed one thing at a time. Weeks later, he moved like another man. That's the loop. Not blind work, not endless grind. Observe, adjust, reapply. Most men push without reflection. They lift, they type, they repeat, but they don't study. So they spin in place. A soldier sharpens his blade, tests the edge, then sharpens again. Every strike is feedback, every failure a note. Power grows that way. You must do the same with focus. After each sprint, ask, what drained me? What drove me? What worked clean? What wasted time? Track it. Not to judge, to optimize. The average man treats focus like a blunt hammer. He keeps swinging, hoping force alone will build something. But the strategist treats it like software, refined, updated, sharpened, adapt fast, cut what fails, amplify what works. Soon you move ahead while others still grind, blind, angry at the dark. The man who learns from every step outpaces the man who only walks. Part 19. Mission Obsession. He cooked in a small diner, burgers, fries, eggs on the grill. Every night the same smell of grease. But he had one dream, to bake bread no one could forget. So he practiced. 10 years? Same recipe over and over. Flour on his arms, burns on his hands. Nothing else mattered. Then one day, a single loaf carried his name. Lines formed outside his shop. He was no longer a cook. He was the baker. The man who mastered one thing. That's what obsession does. It bends the world. It filters decisions. It kills distraction. Every choice, every hour either serves the mission or dies. Most men drift. A little of this, a little of that. Weak dreams scattered like dust. But the ones who rise have gravity. A mission so sharp it pulls everything toward it. A ruler chased glory, not comfort. Glory gave him direction. Glory decided every move. Not vanity. Clarity. You must find the same. Not, I want success. Not, I want money. Too soft. Too vague. Choose a throne that burns. Build the most feared firm. Write the book no one can put down. Forge a body that clears space when it enters a room. Once you have it, you don't fight for focus. Focus bends to you, because the mission won't let you wander. It drags you forward, whether you're ready or not. That's how men become empires. Not by chasing everything, but by bleeding for one thing until the world kneels. Part 20. Focus Under Fire. The room shook, monitors screamed, nurses moved fast, voices sharp. A man lay on the table, chest open, blood everywhere. Deadlines in seconds, not hours. The surgeon didn't flinch, hands steady, breath calm. While chaos raged, he cut, stitched, closed. Life pulled back from the edge. That's focus under fire, not the quiet room, not the phone turned off. The battlefield, where noise, panic, doubt claw at you, and you remain cold. Most men collapse there. One insult ruins their day. One lost sale shatters their week. A single failure spirals into an identity crisis. They drown in feelings, while the work burns. You must not delay the reaction. Name the emotion. That's envy. That's fear. That's shame. Then dismiss it like a servant. Your mission is royalty. A soldier once said he never heard the bombs, not because they were silent, because his mind was locked on the task. The men beside him, the ground to take. Fear was there, but fear never sat in the driver's seat. That is the final fortress. Not silence, not exile. Control and fire. To act while the world screams. To move like a machine when everyone else shakes. Focus that survives chaos is the only focus that counts, because calm is practice. But storms decide kings. Closing period. You don't use focus, you become it. It shows in how you sit, how you walk into a room, how you speak less, but every word cuts. Most men scatter. They chase, they scroll, they explain. Their attention leaks into the dirt. And they wonder why nothing holds. You must turn focus into identity. Not a trick, not a tool. A second skin, worn every hour, tight, unforgiving. Guard it like a crown, spend it like gold. Invest only where returns are brutal. Build silence, build systems, build walls. When storms rise, stay cold. When noise surrounds, stay still. When others beg for balance, choose control. Because in a world addicted to distraction, the focused man becomes untouchable. By the time they notice him, it's already too late.